Hi, and welcome to the Sacred Soul Podcast with Gina Martell and Shayne Goss. I'm Gina. This is Shayne. So, Sacred Soul, mind, body, and spirit, we are a holistic healing center. We're located in the outskirts of Atlanta, right in Canton, Georgia. I am a certified ICF personal, spiritual, and equine assisted life coach, and I'm an author. And we both are QHHT past life regression practitioners. So, in this podcast, we discuss some really interesting things, like everything going on now that you maybe want to just know more about, or maybe you're just waking up for the first time and you're like, what is going on? Well, we've got some wonderful information for you that will help you go into that transition into 4 and 5D. We're all going there. We're going to talk about the new earth and what we do and how magical and healing this work is. We are so excited to share our techniques and stories with you. And we're also going to be inviting and speaking to some really great guest holistic healers and other experts as they share their work within the quantum field. So, all you have to do is sit back and listen, but you can't do that unless you hit like and subscribe so you can hear us. Also, we've got some really cool events that are going to be coming up. One thing you don't want to miss is our meetups with Universal Healing Sanctuary, UHS. And you can visit our website at sacredsoul.love. And there you can schedule your QHHT past life regression and some other healing sessions that you may want to do. So make sure to join us. Don't forget, hit like and subscribe. Do that now. So, Shayne, let's talk about QHHT because a lot of people probably have no idea what in the world we're talking about. So, break down the letters
Yeah,
QHHT.
what
Let's
is
tell
that
everybody what that
acronym?
means.
Yeah,
Well, quantum.
Healing Hypnosis Technique. Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. So Dolores was the founder of QHHT. There's Dolores. Okay.
Dolores Cannon.
Dolores Cannon. We said her name and then let's go rainbow.
That happens a lot.
That does happen in sessions.
It
When
does
she
in
comes
sessions.
in.
Yeah. She's
So
always there.
yeah. So Dolores Cannon was the pioneer of past life regression. And what makes QHHT different than other types of hypnosis is that we work in the theta brainwave state, which helps you get a good, clear connection to the subconscious. And she always said, subconscious, I don't mean the childish part of the mind. I mean, the part of you, it's really, I guess you could say, the universal subconscious. It's the part of you that not only has the files of everything that's happened to you in this lifetime, but all of your lifetimes. So it has all the information of the soul, of all the lives you've ever lived. And it's the closest part of you to source. So we say SC for short, as practitioners say SC for subconscious, but really we mean the higher self aspect, or the Christ consciousness that we all have within us, and we all have access to that information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're contacting within the session in your theta brainwave state, and everybody goes in and out of theta like at least twice a day, more than that if you take a nap, because it's right on the brink of sleep is where you go.
Right. A lot of people think that, they get it confused with the alpha brainwave.
Mm-hmm.
The alpha brainwave, when I'm explaining this to clients, I explain it like the cruise ship magician. When you go on a cruise ship and they bring you up there and they go, hey, I can make you forget your name and pretend you're a dog and bark like a whatever. And that's actually done in the alpha wave,
Mm-hmm.
which is the shallower brain wave, right?
Yeah, well, it's the shallower end of the trance state.
Right.
So
That's the one, when I was reading more with Dolores' stuff, that's the one that people can actually make stuff up in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the theta cannot be.
Okay.
That's the one that is the actual best brainwave to get you into your the hypnosis, and it is like you
Yeah.
said, it's the wave just before you fall into that deep delta sleep
Yeah.
where we go into REM sleep, and then we just we
Forget. Yeah.
completely. But but lately we're having all these lucid dreams, so we're starting to remember a lot of things, right?
Yeah, and the thing is like when you're working in theta, so in alpha, okay, so there's four brainwave states, really five. So you have like gamma, then you have beta, and those are like the high brainwaves, like high wave, hertz wave. So if it's a higher hertz, it's a lower amplitude of a wave. So gamma would be the highest, like very extremely alert. Your logical mind, the conscious mind, is a very, very active. So as you go down to beta, which is like more like waking life, and then you have alpha, which is where you're kind of, it's the shallower end of the trance state.
Yeah, it's like when you're driving a car, and you go in and out.
You go in and out of alpha
watching a
all
movie.
day, every day.
Yeah, yeah.
All day, every day. Like if you're watching this video, and we're 5 minutes in, you're in alpha.
Yeah, you are.
It's just how it works.
Right.
So people get scared sometimes of these brainwave states. You don't realize this is a natural program. It's a technology within you.
Right.
So we work in theta because people don't realize there's a wealth of knowledge there. That's like where, and you bring it back to those higher brainwave states and do that integration work and everything like that.
Right.
So,
those are all your past lives.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And really it's not, we've learned in QHHT, it's not even really past life. That's more of a linear term to describe it.
Right.
But
that's how people know it as, because we know that past lives are not past lives. They're right now happening lives.
It's all happening right
because
now.
there's so many versions of us going around out there in all different dimensions that, we don't even deal with linear when we're dealing with QHHT at all.
It's not.
There is no linear.
So describing this technique is really fun because you're having to see what somebody else's language is that they could understand when you're describing the technique, because it is quantum.
Right.
So so we have to use a lot of 3D terms. Even the new Earth is a 3D term. It's not a new Earth. It's on the dimension. We access it by going within and reaching these higher states of consciousness.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a new Earth. It's just, it's always been there, but we're coming into it.
Right. For the first time. Well, not even for the first time, but it's just that's what they're calling it, so everybody understands what it is. Yeah, these 3D terms.
And that's what I call it. I call it
Me
new
too.
Earth.
Me too.
Yeah, so as we move there. So but during a QHHT session, usually they give us a past life to view. They always give us the most appropriate past life to view. That helps with the present lifetime. Okay. Maybe we don't need the lights. They're like, turn off the lights. Okay, that's fine. Okay. I don't understand.
Sometimes we have no control over what happens.
It's the funniest thing, because this ring light, I was doing my YouTube project, QHHT project with Denny, and every time his higher self started speaking something really important, it would just switch. So, and it only does that when I'm doing this kind of work, not when I'm trying to take a selfie or anything like that.
No, I know. And the flickering lights are pretty rampant through most of us. I mean, sometimes when I'm doing a coaching session or a QHHT, or if I'm doing Reiki or something like that with somebody, same thing. You get the flickering light. So I always take that as confirmation.
Yeah, I do too. So it's high energy in here right now. So we have an invisible light man right now, I guess.
Or whatever.
Our lighting guy. But yeah, so in a QHHT session, usually you can expect the most appropriate lifetime to come through to help with the present life, and then you always tie it back around with the SC will say that, you'll ask. So we're like we're digging for that information.
Right.
So, but yeah, so how long do you usually stay because we have to do an interview first,
Right.
before, with the person before we take them under.
Right. Because, and the purpose in doing that, it's not like a 20-minute interview. It's like a 3 hour.
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hour interview. It really depends on the information that you're getting, like how much information you're getting from the person and the comfort level, because that person has to really trust you. Like I did a lot when we were at level 1, we had to get 25 to get to level 2. 25
different people.
25 clients that we couldn't charge, that we were just, trying to get to 25 different people so we could start at level 2. And, I went through a lot of my coaching clients because it was easy. I could offer it to them for free, and they loved that. But I knew them on a different level, just as speaking to them as a coach and their traumas and things like that.
So you had that trust established already since they've
yeah,
been working with you for a while?
I did. I did, yeah. But still, some of those interview times were 2.5, 3 hours, definitely, even with a coaching client that I might have been
Really?
working with for 6 months to
I didn't
a
realize
year.
that.
Yeah. Because I don't know, it's just different. Like, it's one thing when I'm talking to them as a life coach because they've decided that, on a 3D or linear level, that's who I am, and that's a safety thing. I think for them, I'm not a therapist, I'm a life coach, but it's kind of, I want to say the same thing, but I work with people to help them through their traumas, right? And things like
And
that.
you're very good at it.
Thank you. But when you're talking about going into regression, hypnosis, that's where people get a little nervous. And I have found that a lot of the people that I've regressed, if they are open and awake to everything, like, I don't mean everything, but what we're doing, right? To what hypnosis is, and they really want to find out, what happened in the most appropriate life, which relates to this present life. It always does, right? It's then they're fine. I can get them under, no problem, and I get a lot of answers out of the subconscious, and they get up after 4 or even sometimes 5 hours, and they feel amazing. But I have had a couple of people that were bordering on the religious, still part of, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if I believe in this, and they are a little more hesitant. So I think that's where my interview process has to be a little bit longer and make sure that they really fully understand and that they really trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't do anything like,
if they don't trust us or their belief system, it's all about the belief system.
yeah. And you have the last word.
Yeah.
Your subconscious has the last word. Absolutely. So it's not like I can say, oh, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. I can't do probably most.
I've never even thought of
predominantly. You've told me your deepest, darkest secrets in coaching anyway, but I'm just saying in regression, I can't pull anything out and blackmail you with it. It's not like I can do anything like that. Your SC is not going to let that happen.
No.
And I'm not that kind of a person anyway.
No.
Why would I do that? But I'm trying to help you. I'm a healer. You're a healer. We're trying to help people.
Yeah.
So
I think ultimately they're probably still stuck in this because that's self-worth belief or how do I say this? I feel like if someone's still very much so in their ego and out of balance,
that's
as
true.
Far as that control aspect, that's what blocks it, because we go into so in the theta brainwave state, your conscious mind, that part should be drifting away. So if that person says, "Oh, I'm interested," but they're not really, it's not gonna really work for them because that's their free will, and And we hold that to the utmost. And the SC, the higher self, holds that to the utmost
Right.
because your free will is your superpower.
Exactly.
Psychic or not, which we all have those abilities, but
Yeah.
that's your ultimate superpower. And that's what makes this Earth so special, because not every planet has free will.
Nope. We're the
We're
only
the only
ones
ones.
that we've heard about so far
yeah.
that have that. And so that's why, it is really okay to let go and do this, because the benefit that you get out of it is amazing. And now that we're level 2
Yeah.
practitioners, we're moving
Yeah.
to level 3, and
Yeah.
I don't know, we've got a lot of people under our belts now
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Dolores Canton talked about getting her clients into somnambulistic state. Now, I've noticed that the longer I do this, the better I get at the somnambulistic stuff, right?
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
And now I can always tell what. First of all, we know that the breathing shifts a little bit, the eyes move in a different way. But what I love is I've had a couple of clients that, like some female clients. I had one that came in as a man, and she was in this big old meadow pasture that she owned, and she was sitting under a tree and she was saying, "It's so hot. I am so hot." And she goes, "But I'm rocking this really cool mustache that I've got." And she was going like this and she was playing with it. And I thought, oh, she is somnambulistic.
She became that person.
Because when you feel it and you're really in it, like you're totally there, you can feel temperatures, you can feel the roughness of your clothes, you can feel your mustache, I mean, whatever. That is what gets really amazing.
Yeah.
That's where I just sit there and go,
Yeah.
it's just the coolest thing.
You ask them, well, what about, their name? And they're like, who's that? They've completely become that person. But you said even with your coaching clients, it takes a minimum of 2 hours. So in a day, a QHHT is not like, oh, you come in, for an hour, and it's a 4 to 6 hour
It's
event.
a whole day.
It's a whole day.
Yeah.
And we send you info, get you everything prepared, eat a good breakfast, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you're going to spend 2 hours just talking about your life from start to the session, and those big things that you've worked through, and you start to see those patterns and everything. And people don't realize how cathartic it is to just sit and have a day dedicated to you.
Yeah.
And get all those tears out and talk about those things. And that's so healing in itself before you even get to the regression part of the day.
Yeah, that is true, because a lot of people, they don't get listened to.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody that really genuinely listens. And as we're sitting there for 2 to 3 hours, I mean, sometimes I've gone 3.5 hours for the interview.
Talking to somebody. Yeah.
I'm not going to move them into the regression phase until I know that they are ready and that they trust me. But I mean, sometimes, and we want you to bring questions as well. But sometimes we can answer those questions in the interview process as well.
Because sometimes they start already getting relaxed enough to start channeling their higher self within the session. They don't realize, that's how that feels to do that in my daily life. So they're already learning kind of how it feels to have connected to that part of you.
Yeah, and then they get relaxed, and then we say, okay, you ready? Let's go. And usually, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had some people come in with 3 pages of questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's try to go through these in the interview.
One thing that I started doing, because that was happening a bit with people, I started saying, I'm going to send you an email, tell you everything you need for the questions. Because we go through health, we do the body scan and go through health and everything.
Yeah.
When we talk to the SC, so I always have them put that up at the top of the paper with the physical stuff, or aches and pains, all that stuff. And then as an exercise before they come in, I ask them to write the list, do a meditation, sit on it for a day or so, come back to the list. And if they have any duplicate questions worded the same, just a different way, same questions worded different or a different facet of that.
Right.
I'm like, I ask them, why is that so important to you if you're asking the same question over here and here and here?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that happens, I tell them to star it. Like, you don't have to write it 4 different ways,
Right.
the paper, that helps narrow that down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's a good exercise for them because I'm like, well, okay, now step away, go do a meditation, come back to it, look at the list. And a lot of the times they'll be like, oh, I thought I wanted to know the answer to this, but I think I already know it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's a great way.
Well, that's what's so great about meditation too, is, sometimes I'll tell people just go meditate, like even in coaching, or I teach them.
That's how I got started.
Yeah.
You said, go meditate, Shayne. I said, okay. Change my life.
but another thing I do is I teach them how to listen to their heart. Mm-hmm. So they'll be like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. And I'll say, okay, close your eyes. They'll close their eyes. And I go, just touch your heart and ask the question very simply. Should I do this? Yes or no? Your heart will answer the question for you. A lot of people think it's all in the mind. It used to be, but not anymore. Now we answer with the heart. And the heart has great intelligence. Mm-hmm. I remember some doctor saying, your heart has no brain. Yes, it does. Spiritually, it has a brain. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is that little voice inside of us that is a guide, right? So, yeah, when people can sit and just meditate and really think of what they want to ask and listen without the ego getting in the way. It's not about what they want. It's about what they need, what the universe, wants to bring in, right? Or wants to answer or wants them to do or wants to give them, So, yeah, that's a great thing to do is to get them to meditate like that.
Yeah, and it helps prepare them for the session as well if they're not already a meditator, to get familiar with how it feels to be in a trance state. Because, in prayer and meditation, you go into trance state, alpha or theta, depending,
Right.
But, and so, it really is very helpful to do that. But in the preparation, I think that's my favorite thing to say, and as far as when they're coming in with their questions for their higher self, the SC. So, but yeah, so and no expectations.
No expectations.
No expectations is a big thing, and I made a video of that on my YouTube, but yeah, it's all up to their will and their belief system and all that jazz. We're not the ones doing the healing.
Right. It's the SC.
It's them. And it's them.
It's them.
It's them to be able to receive that, to let go to receive.
Right.
And that is their will. Not the the SC can't do anything without that's out of that alignment, And you know that. How many times have they told you, no, we're not going to heal this because they're not going to change?
That happens a lot.
It happens a lot.
That happens a lot. And but it's always emotionally tied. Because now it's really interesting how science is starting to realize that every bit of dis-ease that we have starts with an emotion. Like I'm hearing more and more people going, oh, guess what?
Yeah.
and we've known this for how long? But nobody wanted to listen to us because they thought we were crazy. So that's all right,
They're
though.
like, you're witches.
That's all.
They're like, no, you're just a witch.
That's okay.
Oh my God.
I'm white. I'm a white witch. It's okay. But they think whatever they want to think. But but everything is connected to an emotion. So what we find in the regression is when we get to the SC, how many times have you been has the SC told you, she has to let that go. We
Yeah.
cannot do anything until she lets
Yeah,
that go.
because it's holding you back. You can't receive like with your clenched. Let it go.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. So, but it's not that easy for some people to let
mm-hmm,
things go because they're very attached to it. You
mm-hmm,
know, you know. I read this study that was just amazing, like a couple weeks back about your brain, and I heard that when you're in a state of life is terrible, I'm miserable, your brain actually releases those chemicals
mm-hmm,
into your into your body, and you actually feel that.
mm-hmm.
And if you continue thinking that way, which it's easy when you have those chemicals released in your body that help you think that way, you'll continue that for a long time, and that can actually become your lifetime state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think, positive and the light, life is good and everything is great, it releases those chemicals and helps you maintain that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Rumi, one of my favorite philosophers, has always said, as you think, so shall you be. So it's really important the things that we think, because our brain listens to it
Mm-hmm.
and says, oh, okay, so we're angry, we're
Yeah.
miserable.
And that affects every cell in your body.
It
It
does.
completely affects your nervous system immediately.
It
You know?
affects your organs,
Yeah. Which, yeah.
can create cancers.
Yeah.
I mean, all those things. And so, yeah, and so what I have found, and I guess you started doing this as well, is once the session is over with and we know there's emotional things that they need to let go of, that's where I'll add the coaching aspect to it
Mm-hmm.
and say, these are things you need to release. How can I help you
Yeah.
release them? Maybe we should do a couple of sessions and get to the root of what is really causing this.
Yeah.
And once I can help you release it and purge it from your body, then the SC can continue doing what it's going to do to help you
Yeah,
to
and
heal.
in those cases where they're like, because I know sometimes you really have to dig for the SC
Yeah,
to help release stuff, but
yeah,
sometimes they're just like knows that she or he needs to do the work, and
right.
the SC always gives homework,
Yep.
always. So that's like another reason why I do all these follow ups with
Mhm.
everybody that leaves.
Mhm. Mhm.
We just do follow up, follow up. Hey, are you doing your homework? Hey, are you? I'll ask them. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, are you doing this specific thing that you're supposed to be doing that's going to be helping with this
Yeah.
issue?
Yeah.
You know. So the coaching is the integration work, in my opinion. I
It
think that it's a
is.
great idea to do that for anyone that has a QHHT session. I think it's a great idea.
Well, I think integration is great in any respect. I mean,
Yeah.
even like you and I, like I just became a Reiki master, which I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
about that. And I know you're a Reiki practitioner. I mean, all of
Yeah.
us in our tribe are
Yeah.
Reiki people. Even just that, that
Yeah.
modality,
Yeah.
once we heal some things, the best thing to do is to get
So,
outside and integrate,
yeah.
into nature and just, let that get into your
Yeah.
body.
Let it
It,
soak in and then make those changes in
mhm.
your life that you need to do. And it's good to have someone to hold you accountable for that,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah. But I think what I find is that some people, when I check in with them, oh, I forgot, or
Yeah.
I haven't
But you
really,
can't, that's one thing you always say, look, I can't do this work for you.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's the same thing in
Yeah.
coaching too. I
Yeah.
tell people, you're here. I'd love to keep taking your money, but I like money. I'm a fan, but I can't ethically, and I have integrity, so I can't possibly just take your money if you're not going to do the work because it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of mine,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I like it when people are really fired up about it and go, yeah, I'm gonna make some changes,
Yeah.
and they do, yeah. But
Yeah.
we've had some really great clients. I mean, we've
Yeah.
we've we've had some stuff that just I'm just like in awe of
Yeah.
how amazing it is. And this is the one thing that Dolores Canton had mentioned a couple times is people go, oh, I'm gonna regress, maybe I'm Cleopatra or maybe I'm George
Yeah.
Washington. Nope.
Nope. Nope. She calls them bread and butter, or not
Meat and
bread,
potatoes
not
life.
bread and butter lives.
Meat and
Meat and
potatoes
potatoes
life.
lives.
Yeah. So you're not. I mean, I haven't come across anybody famous yet. Have
No,
you?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Not anybody. No. Nope. I've had some really cool stuff though.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, I've had some pretty boring lives too,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
thinking, oh,
I've had my share of those. But
this
it always has something in
it
there
has
they need to
something.
see. It's
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah, and that's where the questions are so important. Our questions,
Yeah.
because and that's getting all the details
Hmm.
from the client in the
Yeah,
regression.
because we use everything that we've learned about their life and the patterns in it and things they've experienced or relationships, all that stuff.
Yeah,
We have like crammed this into our brains so with so much attention, just laser focused on the subject there, and then we're taking from, oh, how does this connect to that they're experiencing, and we can't ask leading questions,
mm-mm.
so we really have to ask the right question to get that information out if we're making a connection,
Right.
so they can hear it back on their recording when they listen back. They're like, oh, you know what I mean?
I know.
So yeah.
That's really so. But what always and I swear the better we get at this, I've noticed this. I don't know if you have. The better we get at this, and the more clients that we've had, I'm telling you, the more complicated the regressions are. Like as far as the lives,
Mm-hmm.
like I've had people come in as energy.
Mm-hmm.
I've had him come in as I had somebody come in as a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Um, I've had one of the most beautiful ones I had was somebody came in as a guide
Oh yes.
for a little boy, and I was so
That.
thrilled about
Wow.
that one, and because we always hear like we're never alone. We've got angels and guides and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and man, she was so exact with her information and so detailed that I was like, you can't possibly make that up. It's
Yeah.
just it's so beautiful the way that she described it, and you could feel like I'm empathic as it is, and I know you are too. So
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel
When. Yeah.
that person
Yeah.
or what they are in that past life, and I could feel the love
Mm-hmm.
coming off of her for that little child,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
Yeah. When you're in this, I mean, you're feeling I'm seeing energy on the person.
Hmm.
You're sometimes I always see at least one or two guides in the room, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's their loved one will be with them.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
has crossed over.
I I had a client who lost her son. And she goes, I keep feeling him around me. I know that he's there. And I said, and I hadn't done this part yet. I thought, well, I'm going to try
Yeah.
it today. And so I brought him in with her, and it was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt him there. She felt him there.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was spending so much time with her because he was worried about her
Mm-hmm.
not handling his death. And so we talked about it. And I said, you know what? It's time for you to cross over, but you can come back in dreams and visit her that way. That way you're
Mm-hmm.
doing what you're supposed to do, and you can still visit her.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of my
Yeah, so beautiful.
superpower.
Yeah, you are
Is
a
the ghost
medium.
the ghost lady. But yeah, I mean, and they came right in, and
Mm-hmm.
she, was very emotional about it, and she felt him, and
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
I just love it.
Yeah.
It's the most
QHHT is so good for grief work
it
too. I can
is.
speak to that in my own
Yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very good for grief work.
yeah. So I love it. When I started taking the class, we started at the same time.
Yes, we did it
We did it
together.
together. We were like, okay, we're gonna do this. We'll win. Well, I'm not ready yet. Well, me neither. Okay, but we'll get there. And then we finally were ready.
Yeah, it was a long time coming.
It was a long time coming. And I
Yeah.
was so glad that we had each other
Yeah.
because we could bounce off, things. Or, you understand this?
Yeah.
But when I was watching this and her doing, and Dolores doing the regressions, I just sat there with my mouth open.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
It's different seeing it on the videos and the courses
It
than reading
is.
it in the book. I mean, it's just there's something so beautiful and magical about the way she's just the best.
Oh, she's the best.
She's the best.
Like, we'll
Ever.
probably never get that good,
Ever.
but we're getting good.
Yeah.
We're getting really good.
But the thing is, she still comes in the sessions.
She does.
She's come through clients a couple of times.
Yeah, every time that when I sit down with a client to go in to do the session, I bring her in.
Mm-hmm.
I say, just give me a second. Let me just meditate for a second. And I ask her to come in and help me, to guide me, to maybe throw me some questions every now and then, or help me understand something. And every single time. As a matter of fact, I remember when I did level 1 and I first passed, right?
Yeah.
I passed. And I remember writing, because we have a forum on the QHHT
the forum,
website.
It's our whole community on
which is
there.
great. And Julia, Dolores' daughter, is she just jumps right in and answers your emails. I mean, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. She is. She's awesome.
But I remember dreaming. I had the most lucid dream, and I went and I wrote to her about this, and I was led into this room. I think I told you about this. I was led into this room, and she was there, and she was showing me this is the SC. Because sometimes we wonder, how do we explain the SC, right? Well, I saw it as 5 beings. Yeah. 5 like angelic beings, okay? And, I walked in and they were all like joyful and happy for me, and she was too. It was like, congratulations, and I thought, wow, I got her thumbs up, to do awesome. It. And when I wrote an email to Julia, and everybody else jumped on them too, they all said they had very similar experiences.
Yeah, it was so funny because we finished around the same time, I think, because we've kind of stayed around each other. But I had forgotten about this, but I also had my Dolores dream.
Yeah.
But, my mom had just passed a few months before that, and she came to me and she just said, "My condolences about your mother."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was like, I can't describe the emotions in that.
How beautiful.
But it was like, wow, you are here and you're seeing me and seeing, how I'm trying to help people even through my own, my own, in my own process. Because you grow so much just becoming a practitioner. It's a healing process.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new leveling up. So yeah, that was really beautiful. But then you have like the dream like the same week or week after. I don't even think we talked to each other, or I'd even told you that happens. But,
yeah, I never knew.
Apparently, that's a common thing though, to have a dream about Dolores when you're going through the process.
Yeah,
because she's watching everybody and helping everybody.
It's interesting because she never really wanted to teach anybody else how to do this. She wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah,
but she made it. It's not easy. No,
it's not.
She didn't make it easy for us to just, do 3 classes. Oh, look what I can do,
Yeah.
And she's got definite rules. Like, as a matter of fact, it's funny because I know the rules, and sometimes I think, well, could I do that? And then I hear no.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I know that she's probably no, and then she's probably laughing, going, "Maybe you tried it," whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's she was very very definite, very clear about the rules of doing this, and so we have what would you call that? We have guidelines, that we absolutely have to follow.
Yeah, and it's all to for protection and the utmost safety of the client there on the the bed. So
You know what's interesting is that sometimes couples will come in, and usually the girl wants to be with her boyfriend in the room while I'm doing this, and they don't like being told no, that they can't
really,
be in there to
I
do that.
haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah, I did once, and I said you cannot, you
Yeah,
can't,
it
sh-
has to be one on one because
right.
even
She
within the classes, you see people go into trance when you're doing it. I mean, everybody in the room goes into trance. You can't, that's a safety issue. I mean, not say, oh, it's unsafe, but you
it's a
can't manage all that.
no.
You're one person.
The other thing is it's a privacy thing,
Yeah,
but it's also a trust thing
yeah.
because this couple had been dating for about only about 6 months. So, 6 months in a relationship,
Hmm.
you're kind of in the familiar phase, but there's probably some secrets that you haven't really told, and you probably don't want to tell, right? That's what I'm for.
Yeah, I was like, you're the secret keeper.
It's a good thing I'm a Scorpio,
Yeah.
but
That's what.
we're good at secrets. But anyway, so yeah, and she said, "Well, can I just sit quietly in the corner?" And I'm like, "No, because it's and Doris explained this.
Hmm.
The person in regression knows that you're in the room.
Yeah, they're not gonna go as deep,
They're not gonna.
and they're not gonna be so honest with you.
Mm-mm,
You know.
mm-mm. So, yeah, sorry, can't go in the room
Yeah.
with the person.
Yeah. I
That's just the
just.
way that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing that I did, I've done a few couples,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously they have their own day for their session, and um, that has been a really good process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've done, checking back up with them. It seems like as far they didn't come in for any relationship issue
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that, but they both are just like so pumped up for one another and
Mm-hmm.
understanding of one another, and that's a very special thing within a relationship to be able to be supportive in somebody else's spiritual journey and them doing that shadow work and all that stuff. So I would have been like, you can't stay here, but you can come back next week for your own session. So
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So when you've done that, like in my case, it was just the guy that was doing it, right?
hmm
Like she didn't want to do it. But in this case, that you had both people that wanted to do it. Did you find
yeah.
that they had a similar past life?
No.
Completely different.
Well, it
Did they know
depends on
each
the
other?
couple. Depends on the couple.
Did they recognize each other from a past life?
Um, no, not in every case.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. It's not
yeah,
always that way, right?
yeah. So so I had a couple that came from the same star system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was very interesting because they both were connected to this entity. This well, I don't want to say too much because I don't know if I can disclose the information. But so they had that was that they had a soul tie basically and
Mm-hmm.
over there
Mm-hmm.
before they got here. So that's why they ended up together. And then I had another one of my other couples. They had completely different
Really?
experiences.
Wow.
Yeah, in their past lives. So there wasn't really an opportunity. I don't want to say that, an opportunity for them to see each other where they had been together before.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody has been together before.
That's true.
So a lot of people come in thinking they're going to see, oh, you're my soulmate and we've been together all these lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't really, I found that doesn't really work like that all the
Mm-mm.
time. Sometimes that's the case, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Maybe the SC only wants to give you the information you need to know.
that is
So
true.
maybe it's not important to know that for them.
Yeah, because it's everything that pertains to this current lifetime, right?
Mhm.
What's going on in this lifetime.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is really interesting. And as the more that I do, the more I'm just astounded.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone would probably think, like most people would think, oh, you do a past life and you're always coming back as a human. You don't
No,
always.
no. No, you don't.
And that just blows my mind. Like, because, I've had people come in and they've been like just energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
where are you? I'm just floating around. Where are you going?
Oh, one thing that happens a good bit is that they'll be in the light, right?
Yeah.
Well, you get that a lot in
Hmm.
the light. So that light is actually, I don't know if you figure out what that light is, but it's source.
It's
It's a great,
source.
great central sun source. And so it's kind of like people don't want to come back from that. In the
Yeah.
session, they're like, no, I don't want to leave. I don't want to
I've
leave.
had that.
This
Yeah.
feels so good. You have to like coax them to leave to go back to this other lifetime that we're
Yeah.
trying to view. But it's always important that they get to feel that because we walk around all the time. Not all the time, but we get into moments where like, man, I just miss home. I want to go home. I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
And that person really needed to feel what home felt like because
Yeah.
it's been a long journey.
The remembrance.
It's been a long journey for all of our souls. So getting back to source.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
come back and be one again. we'll all be one again.
That's right. The tough stuff is when they come in different forms like that, your whole, like you said, have no expectations.
Yes, have no expectations.
We can't have expectations.
No idea.
Because we don't know where we're going to go with this person,
the
right?
SC picks the most appropriate lifetime.
That's
it
right.
Always goes back to.
So it's interesting because you have to know which questions to ask when they're not in human form.
Yeah.
And then but you have to have an understanding
Mm-hmm.
of the quantum field and
I'm sorry. Of the quantum field.
of the quantum field and etherics, the ethereal, because you have to understand what energy is, right? Which is playing with us really bad right now.
I know.
It really likes those lights.
I know.
Color.
The green.
The green.
And the yellow.
Well, that's heart and
solar.
and solar. Yeah. Okay.
That's very
It's probably
interesting.
trying to tell us about the ego.
Oh, it's about the ego.
Love and ego. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, being able to, know that energy has no beginning and no end. So then you have to, because the way we are taught to ask the questions is, we have to move people through into important days. Well, is there an important day in a life of energy?
Yeah.
With God. I mean, how much more important can your day get beyond God?
Yeah.
Right? You're right there with God. So it's like, the question you have to ask is, well, when did you decide to become human? When did that change? But that's some of the challenge stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes when you ask a question, do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, this is not obsolete, but of such little importance? Because you're like, oh, they just need to feel this moment for a second, for a little while. How long can they bask in this? We got to move somewhere, though, because we can't stay here all day.
Yeah, we're 4 hours in.
It's like,
I got to eat dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they got to eat dinner. But that's very true. So that's what's so great about the the classes, is that she explains so much of that. You really have to know a lot about. You have to know enough about the quantum field that when we get to those points, those lives, like, you want to share some of our life stuff?
Yeah.
Because this is kind of going in that direction.
Well, first off, I do want to say that reading so many of Dolores's books, that's the textbook right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because she already went through and gathered all this information to where we wouldn't have to be like, I have no idea what's
for
happening.
45 years.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
She
So
studied
she
this.
did the Convoluted Universe series was a big one that
Mm-hmm.
That was just that's the one that's really out there, with all these different perspectives of what's happening.
Yeah.
That is what I could say, perspectives. But yeah, so
And there's so many books to read.
yes, there is.
I mean,
There is.
I have not even, I mean, let's see. I've got Convoluted Universe. I had the other one. I had the one that Julia wrote.
Soul Speak is a great, great book. If you're
Soul Speak,
interested in how the emotions go into the body,
Mm-hmm. And the
that's
illnesses.
perfect. That's, I mean, and yeah, and the ailments, everything like that. That's Julia Cannon's Soul Speak. That's a great one
Yeah,
for any
yeah.
holistic practitioner to pick up.
Yeah, I refer to that book a lot
Yeah.
because I can go right through and find out whatever that
Yeah.
illness is and explain to somebody that's pretty much what's going on.
And that's what the higher consciousness has said. Oh,
Yeah.
this is this because of that. And
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. I just started a little while ago the one with the lady with the horns, the forest one.
Horns of the Goddess?
Horns of the Goddess.
That was like...
No, I forgot the title. Horns of the Goddess. That one I
was
got
a
an
great
Audible. That one really
Yeah.
resonated with me.
Yeah.
And
That's a great book.
And yeah, but there's so many of her books to read. And like you said, those are really the textbooks because it's all of her work and they're all cases of a lot of her clients. She had so many.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's a lot of hours of sessions. When I look at that, I'm like, this is a 22-hour book. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And then all the time it took for her to compile all of it, all the years to compile it and put it together. I mean, that's why she worked on so many books at one time. And I'm starting to realize that because I've got, maybe 2 or 3. I'm uncertain, but it's like you have these different themes and then, okay, here's another session someone's consented I could use for this.
Yeah.
That adds on to all these different topics,
Yeah. I mean, all the different topics that she has gone into are all the past lives that we're pulling up ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've pulled in a life. I have a couple times with somebody that was on another planet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was a battle going on.
Oh,
there was a battle going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really interesting. You're just kind of like, it's almost like story time, because they really can get into some amazing details.
Yeah, you're just sitting there like, tell me more. Tell me more. What happens next?
Yeah, that's pretty much
okay.
it. Yeah. So, when we started out.
Oh, we regressed each other the first time.
Yeah, we were excited to do it too.
Yeah.
So when I regressed you,
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, I didn't tell you this at the time, but I have to tell you now because it was just so funny. When I brought in Shayne, I said, so look down and tell me what's on your feet. She says, I don't think I have feet. And I'm like, oh, I'm not experienced enough to do this one. I don't know what she is. What is she? I go, what do you have? What? And she goes, I think I have tentacles. And I'm like, tentacles? What? I'm thinking octopus. Like, what are you?
It was my first time ever being regressed. So you know how,
That was your first time?
Yeah, it was my first
I
time.
didn't know it was your first time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So she said, I'm a jellyfish.
Yeah.
And I went,
well, we had just been studying. Oh my gosh.
I covered my mouth because I thought,
Yeah.
that's adorable. I'm going to crack up laughing because that's so funny that but she's so convincing in the way that I think I'm a jellyfish. And I'm like, okay, well.
And I was that jellyfish. I was.
She really, and it was amazing because there were things that you knew she was there, right? Mm-hmm. That she was there.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what do you do as a jellyfish? Like, I've never... I avoid jellyfish because they tend to sting, when you're in the water. But anyway, she goes, no, I'm with my family. and we're just swimming around. And I'm like, okay. And so she was near the edge of she was at the shoreline, like there was a dock or something. And it was interesting because I said, well, what do you see? And she says, it looks like a man, and he's throwing a net for some fish. And I said, what do you see? Where does he live? And you go, there's looks like a wooden shack.
Yeah, it was a hut.
It was a hut, and he lives in
Yeah.
there, and he catches fish all day, and we just kind of float around. And
You asked me what he looked like. I remember this, and
what'd you remember?
I said feet.
Feet, yeah,
From my perspective,
barefoot feet,
just barefoot feet in the water.
yeah. And then there was a moment because I said, well, so I had to go through her life. Okay, now jellyfish, I read after jellyfish live. I think it's like
3 months.
90 days.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
They
didn't
don't
know that.
I didn't either, but I found out because you were a jellyfish, so I had to find out what that was about. And so I found out they only live 30 days or 90 days. And then, so at one point, I said, she got really quiet. She got real quiet. And I said, what's going on? And she says, there's a big fish.
Oh, I feel it right here.
There's a big fish.
I'm so scared of that fish.
And I said, okay. And I started whispering, and I said, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm being really quiet so he doesn't notice me. I said, all right. And I waited for a second, like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds went by. And then she goes, phew, he's gone. Again.
It was such an intense moment.
It was so adorable.
But I felt all of them.
I know.
You feel that.
You feel
so
it.
much. Yeah.
I've never been a jellyfish, but I have no idea what that feels like. But you actually felt it.
I felt it. I can still, when because that whole lifetime was about, I was trying to learn how to relax.
I know. Yes.
Because I'm a very go, get stuff done person. And that lifetime, the purpose and the lesson of the lifetime, the reason it came in, it was the most appropriate because it was showing me what it felt like to just be.
Be. Yep.
And just float around.
And I remember asking you, what is your purpose? Because when I moved you to your death, and I said, how are you dying? Are you being eaten or are you in? He goes, no,
the light left my body.
I just die.
Yeah. I was just floating and the light left my body. And I think they also gave me that. I remember in the recording, you asked, well, like what was the purpose and the lesson? It was to just be, but also to experience a peaceful lifetime.
A peaceful lifetime.
And know what that peace felt like.
Mm-hmm.
So just like someone who wants to experience how it feels to be home back with Source, I had to experience peace, a peaceful life, and just being.
Yeah.
So that was that for me. So
it was very appropriate.
I remember feeling, I don't know if I was like, my feet were going on the bed or anything like that, but I remember what it feels like to pulse like a jellyfish.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you were totally a jellyfish.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. And I just was like, because I started out rocky. Like I tried to regress, Justin, my husband.
Yeah.
Whose dad was a master hypnotist. And so Justin grew up with that. And
he has that programmed in his.
We can't get him regressed.
Yeah.
We've had a hard time. You had a little bit more success than what I did.
I think I could do it another time and he'll be just fine. But I think that he has those expectations, which puts those walls up.
Exactly.
This is how hypnosis is, because that's how I experienced it before.
Right.
And that's not true.
Yeah. No.
It's just simply not true.
No.
But that's his,
that's his
underlying belief.
Exactly.
On it. Yeah.
So you were like my third person, because then I tried to regress my son, and he just was like, I don't know what you're doing, Mom. He didn't really want to have much to do with it. But you were so anxious about it, and then I was like, oh, now you have to regress me. I can't wait,
Yeah.
So
and that was a whole other experience. That was very interesting. You had a lot of information come through your subconscious.
that was really interesting
That was a
because
lot.
I was a guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was a guy. And I remember living in a very small town.
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and her family had money, and they would never accept me. Yeah, so I felt really bad about that. The interesting thing is that my husband was the sheriff
He was the sheriff. That's right. You
in the
noticed
town.
him.
He was my
Yeah, you
friend.
noticed him.
He was my
Yeah.
friend, and he looked
was your
out
best
after
friend.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
he made sure he brought you. He made sure I had food, and I lived way out, by myself. Because once she got married,
You
eventually,
left. Yeah.
I was like, I'm fed up. So I just went, and I used to sit on the ridge of a mountain all the time near my house. And then what was it? You were talking to me one day, and then I heard something going on my property.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was a native.
It was a Native American, and I got down to go and talk to him. I wasn't going to hurt him. I was just, hey, can I help you?
But he was on the defense, I think.
Yeah, I was going to give him some food or whatever he needed.
Yeah.
And then as I was talking to you, I said, "Oh, I'm being scalped." And he was scalping me, and then he took a spear and went right through my heart. Interesting.
We were focusing on your heart.
My heart.
In that session. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I have a murmur, a little tiny hole in my heart that's congenital since birth. And so that was interesting because it pierced right through my heart.
But you went back to the doctor after that, right?
Yeah, you did. Right. It was better. I actually, he listened and he goes, I can hardly hear the murmur.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually you can hear the murmur, right? And he said, I can hardly hear the murmur at all at this point. You are like so low problem with this,
What about the hole?
He didn't do anything like an ultrasound or a sonogram on to look at it. He just based it on the heartbeat sound.
Oh, okay.
Because normally you can hear the murmur, but he said, I can't hear the murmur now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What'd you do? And I'm like,
yeah.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. So
yeah. I forgot about it. And we're just, since we're just talking about our first sessions because we've regressed each other more than that
a few times, yeah.
But I remember with mine, which is a big healing that happened for me in my first session, was that both my big toes were numb for about 1.5 years.
Really?
And after the session, that went away.
As a jellyfish?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember you telling me that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it went away. It was not like I got out of the session and instantly healed.
Mm-hmm.
I just woke up one day, maybe a month or two later. I said, I don't have this problem anymore.
That's amazing.
And I'd had it for 1.5 years, so I'd had it for a while.
Wow.
But it just fine. And my allergy to grass was healed, so I couldn't ground in the grass. I can ground in the grass now. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we were working together, I used to try to send you outside into the grass.
Yeah, and then I'd break out in hives. That doesn't happen anymore. I used to go to the hospital for grass allergy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Those are good things to tell me. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can get, you can get to the root of your problems, and sometimes, depending on your belief system and your ability to release stuff, you can get healings.
Yeah. Well, I remember in that session that we did with me, that part of my thing was believing in myself too. Mm-hmm. That was an emotional thing, right? Believing that I was, good enough no matter what, Mm-hmm. And so I think that helped that a lot.
Yeah.
Once you, it's just like amazing. Like, we think that all of our issues and problems come from this life, but they actually, many of them can come from the other lives that we had.
And I think it just kind of builds up,
Mm-hmm.
It kind of builds up. And then the important thing is now, because you're like, I'm working on this now. And that's really where our getting rid of that karma comes in.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. If I did not learn how to believe in myself in this lifetime, chances are very good I'd have to go back to I'd have to go to the next lifetime when I die, go to another lifetime and do this all over again. And that would really be most unpleasant, because from what I've learned is that if you don't get it in a couple of lifetimes, they're like, okay, look, you got to get this.
Yeah, it's gonna carry over. That's a big lesson for everybody at this time too.
It is. And sometimes I think the lessons get even tougher the longer you wait to learn them.
Yes. But that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's right. So, well, I think this has been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has. I'm so excited for our next one as well, our next podcast.
Yeah, me too. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. And Shayne, this is always so much fun with you. Doing anything with you is so much fun.
Yes, it is an honor to be on a podcast with jazz DJ Gina Martell.
Oh my God, how my direction just completely went the other way. That's so funny. But you know what? I love it. I love what I do, and I love working with people and helping them feel better. It's just, it's like the most rewarding thing. It just fills my heart with so much love.
Yeah, service to others also.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're about. And that's what Sacred Soul is about. That's why I opened Sacred Soul. So just to let everyone know, we now have a functional website.
Yay.
Thanks to my son, Antonio, who put it together for us. sacredsoul.love. It is up and running. And we are also having an open house, a grand opening, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be on August the 18th, which is a Sunday, and I think we're going to do it from 10 to 4. And we encourage everyone to come by, just say hello, and we're going to have Han, our masseuse and our facialist, is going to be giving like some free mini facials.
Oh, really?
Which is awesome.
I didn't know that.
I know.
That's a reason to come out right there, too.
I know. And probably some free mini massages. I'm going to do some mini coaching sessions, maybe just 15 minutes to give, everybody an idea of kind of how it works. You're not going to be there.
No, I will be in
Germany.
Paris. No, I'll be in Germany. We go to Paris on the 19th.
Awesome.
So we're on European vacation.
Yes.
But not National Lampoon's European vacation.
Oh, man, I hope not.
It'll be more smooth and graceful than that.
Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, well, that's fine. You go and have a good time with Charlie. I'll fill in and fill people in on the QHHT, let people know about that. So I'll be doing some mini coaching and some little things about QHHT. We're going to give like a little demonstration or show the video of what is the yoga? Booty yoga.
Yeah, Hannah's doing that.
Hannah's going to be doing it.
I'm so excited.
It's a primal yoga. And so I decorated the room to be like forestry.
It's so beautiful.
And thank you. So that should be really cool. And then Christina will probably be there and doing some tarot and
astrology.
Readings,
yeah.
Right? And
she's
I think
amazing with the astrology.
She's so good with that. Oh my God. If you've never had your astrology chart done, you got to get it at least one time done and do it with Christina, because she's so detailed.
She's incredibly detailed.
She really has a gift. And then I think Brandy said she was probably going to be available.
Yeah, and she does amazing readings, too.
Yes, so she calls herself a spiritual intuitive, and that's great. And so she's going to make herself probably available to do some mini little psychic readings. So
and Sorelli will be there as well, and she's an amazing Reiki healer.
Oh, Sorelli's going to make it. How wonderful.
I think she's going to be there.
That would be great. Oh, yeah, she's super powerful. So you got like the force.
Yeah.
The force with you. So it's really exciting. The address is 687 Marietta Highway in Canton, Georgia. Go to the website, sacredsoul.love. You can see our pictures. You can kind of see our mission statement. You can see our modalities, our rates. And you and I talked about maybe doing something in October, too.
Oh, yeah. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, to celebrate Samhain and Halloween. So we're looking forward to having a lot of fun events going on.
Yeah, especially having Universal Healing Sanctuary meetups there in the classroom now. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, talk about that for just a minute here.
So Universal Healing Sanctuary is a ministry umbrella ministry of Fifth Element Free Church, but we're here in Georgia, and I'm co-director, and Christina, this is Christina's baby, but as soon as she started, I was right there,
Yeah,
with
you
her
were.
as support, so she asked me to join as co-director and co-minister. But it's, we're a metaphysical ministry. So a lot
Love
of
it.
us come from Christianity, being our introduction, but I want to say it's metaphysical Christian, but also very much so deriving from the law of one. Everything that we've learned in metaphysics and QHHT. And it really goes back to pre-Christianity with Jesus and the Essenes and all that he learned. We really take a lot from the gospel of let's see, was it the Levi, the Aquarian gospel? That's what I was saying, of Jesus the Christ. But people don't realize, like, whoa, he was a psychic. He was a full embodiment of his higher self. So so coming from that, into we have a great community of
Yeah.
all of us, so
Yeah.
that really understand that message and on this ascension journey, and realizing that essentially we are all one in source.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, Unitarian type of ministry, if you want to call it that. We don't necessarily just subscribe to just, it's not a religion, it's just a way.
It's a way.
You
That's a
know,
good way of saying
so
that. I like that. Yeah, because
yeah.
it's nice because, I mean, we don't believe that, and I always say this, that our God is a mean old alcoholic that wants to smite everyone.
Yeah, it's not a man.
It's Mother Father God.
Yeah, it's mother.
Is the
That's
way
what we say,
refer.
Mother, Father, God. Yeah.
And very loving and non-judgmental and duality, and
Mhm.
the reason that we make mistakes and have things that happen to us is so we experience that polarity and duality, like Mother Father God. So it's really quite beautiful. And
Yeah.
I love the group, the few sessions that I've been to, the full
Yeah,
moon.
we have an amazing community, and we
the
do
new
so many.
moon.
Yeah, the new moon event.
I
Yeah,
love it.
and that's where we all collectively manifested this space.
This space
that we are at now, called Sacred Soul.
Isn't that-
And Gina did all the footwork to make it happen, but we all manifested that. This is something that we wanted, and the higher self, the SC in QHHT sessions keeps on stressing the fact of community.
right.
Community is going to help that coronal mass shift into this new earth, the 4 and 5D higher vibration. So I'm so grateful, and we're also grateful to have this space. So thank you, Gina.
Oh no, thanks for the manifestation. I was so happy to be there. It was just really, really cool. But the one thing that I really love about it is that we all you can just feel the love in the group, and we're all super accepting, and it's like, whatever, it's okay. I mean, we're just all open. We're very accepting, and
all learning and growing from one another, but also
Yes.
learning so much more about ourselves and
Yes.
connecting to and embodying on the path to embodying our higher self. So that we have, psychic share classes, the new moon events. We're going to be doing sound bowl stuff in the classroom there at Sacred Soul. I'm sure we'll have Reiki nights.
We're gonna have Reiki nights.
We're going to have so many different educational events. And I know that I tend to be long-winded when we do sermons, so sometimes it's like very information dense because I get into the science of things too,
But
so
that's
it's not just
interesting.
woo-woo stuff,
No.
So yeah,
No, and I definitely I want to definitely bring in the speaker part of it because it's so educational, as everyone is being given the opportunity to wake up, to live their life in consciousness, or not. It really is your choice, and there's no judgment on it. But it's really interesting. I've had so many of late, many coaching clients come in to say, I don't know what I believe in anymore. And so I'm like, oh, this is such a great opportunity.
Yeah, to share,
to share and to guide them into a way of believing in themselves and believing in love, and really making that connection with Prime Creator,
Yeah.
the creator of all that is. I mean, yeah. It's
And
great.
yeah, I mean, it's all about, doing that inner work first. That's the best place to start,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and, getting to that place of unconditional love for the self, forgiveness for the self, and also, within and without, because you'll start to see that in your reality. And so that's why the community is here, because we've
Mm-hmm.
all been doing that work, and we're there. Like our main purpose in this life, as far as light workers, are to serve and to help people in this process. But, and that with that being said, if there's not anything, if there's something that doesn't resonate, we always say, okay, save it for later.
Yeah.
Our feelings aren't hurt by that, because it's your journey.
Right.
And there are going to be certain interests and different steps along the way that are going to help get you there.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And we're not supposed to interfere with anybody's journey.
Yeah, anybody's free will.
So
yeah.
if you just want to go a different way, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go there for a while, and
yeah,
when you decide to come back, we're going to be here.
Yeah, we're all collecting experiences and learning. So, but yeah, so it's going to be awesome having Universal Healing Sanctuary there. And if you're interested in Universal Healing Sanctuary, you can get more information at www.universalhealingsanctuary.com. It's a mouthful, but it's very direct.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having to remember all these websites.
Yeah.
I have my website for my my equine assisted coaching
Yeah.
too. So I know we're just trying to cover all the bases to help everybody should they need
Yep.
it. We're here.
We do have a whole team, here on Earth and in our higher guidance. So we all got you covered. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Gina.
Thank you,
I
Shayne.
love
This was
this
fun,
opportunity.
and we'll talk to everyone again. Don't forget to check out the website, sacredsoul.love and Universal Healing
Sanctuary.com.
All right. Much love to all, and
Yes.
we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Go forth, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite creator.